Welcome to the Wild Type Podcast. I'm Lyssa Lizards.
I'm Neptune the Chameleon.
And we're your reptile girlies. So it's the month of December and we both still have Halloween nails.
I don't want to hear it. Keep your comments to yourself.
We're bringing you content weekly.
That's what it is. We are
committed,
grinding over here, getting these episodes in. So you know what? I'm just gonna tuck my little fingers in.
We're just gonna hide our fingers.
And guess what? You're gonna get Christmas nails in January. So
it is what it is, friends.
That's just how it
just
goes.
How we're rolling this time, but it is a-okay. We're working through the seasons.
No one would know.
No one would know if it weren't for the podcast.
But if our nails though, like no one would know that we're like filming this.
You know what? I've literally had thoughts because I'm going through a phase where I'm like really like rethinking a lot of my content. I'm trying to figure out like how I want to show up on my platforms. I kind of feel like I'm like starting over in my content space a little bit. And I've been thinking like, oh, well, I could like film these videos in advance or like whatever, or I could do this. And then I was thinking about it, I was like, everyone's going to know what week it is, what month it is based on my freaking nails. And I was like, I can't.
Nah, I would do it anyways.
It is what it is.
Happy December, though.
Yes, happy December.
Last month of the year.
Yeah. We'll probably need to do some kind of like a year wrap up at some point or do something. I don't know.
Does this mean the next episode is our 2-year anniversary?
Wait, I think it is. Actually, we need to factor that into our schedule. Oh, no.
Could this technically be?
Is this the week? I think this is actually the week because technically our 2-year is December 1st.
So you remember the episode we did not long ago about anniversaries and how it's up to the individuals to decide how and when they want to celebrate?
Here we are.
We will be doing a 2-year anniversary episode.
Next week. Stay tuned.
With giveaways we haven't figured out yet because it's a month from now.
Yep. We're working on it, y'all.
But have we missed a single episode this year?
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so. And you guys should be pretty freaking proud of that because that is a big feat to have, okay? So we are doing an episode today that we've been wanting to do for a while. But I think we've both kind of just like put it off because this is something that is hard to keep track of.
It requires planning. As you can see, sometimes we're on and sometimes we're not.
We're clearly not on right now, but...
Except for we got this done.
We got this done, and we finally figured out how to tell you guys how much money we spend on our reptiles each month.
Ta-da!
Ta-da! And I feel like that's a big thing that a lot of people, there's so many factors that go into that cost, right? It's not just like, oh, bugs or just, oh, plants or like whatever the case. There's so many different categories in which you can spend your money.
And there's the concept of like, there's the cost of the initial setup and buying the animal. Mm-hmm. Like there's that cost, which I think is what most people focus on when they're like saving for a reptile or they're budgeting for it. It's the initial upfront cost, not the
And rightfully so, because
ongoing.
The ongoing costs are far less than the initial setup cost. So like that totally makes sense that that's the mentality.
Oftentimes the enclosure is more expensive than the animal.
Oftentimes.
And then the combination of those two are like more than what you would spend in a year at least for the like ongoing cost of it.
It also is drastically different if you just have one reptile versus if you have 10 like me or 40
babies,
38, 5, 35, somewhere in there in the 30s. It can really vary depending on, because if you just have one reptile, it's going to be like relatively low cost.
Yes. So it also depends on what species and if you have variety, like are they all eating the same thing or do you have to get different, types of feeders and things like that. So we'll get into it, but basically we're going to talk about how much we spend a month on reptiles. So we had chatted about this, but then we kind of like, as we usually do, we'll like split off and kind of do our own things. So this is a fun hybrid because you calculated to the cent how much you spent per month.
Not to the cent. We did
to the dollar.
To the dollar. Like, don't give me that much credit. I did easy math, okay?
Whole numbers of how much you spent per month.
Yes.
I did not do that in like full transparency through like various sponsorships and stuff. Like we're not paying for every single thing the
Yeah.
same way that
Yeah.
we did when we first started keeping through different like partnerships. So like right now I'm working with like Timberline, who's like helping me
Yeah.
with all the crickets for the
babies.
babies, right? And I'm
Yeah.
like happy to give them a shout out because it's been such
Oh my
a
gosh,
smooth
yeah.
experience. But like as a breeder, that's a huge overhead cost.
Oh, huge.
And obviously my expenses now as a breeder look completely different
Than when you were
than
just a
when I was
keeper.
just a keeper.
Totally.
So like it didn't make sense for me at least to look at a month to month because one, I'm a breeder, so like everything's way more like just quantity.
Yeah.
And I also have like partnerships where I'm not necessarily spending
As
dollars.
much. Yeah.
That's not to
totally.
say though I'm like not paying for other things and haven't spent years
Yeah.
paying for 100% of my expenses. So.
And also, you worked for those bugs.
Yeah.
Okay. You have
Yeah, they're not free bugs.
no
There's a exchange of services.
exchange of goods and services are happening.
Yes.
So that's very important.
But I kind of like tried to kind of categorize main areas.
Yeah.
First one being electricity,
Totally.
which is one that I get asked a lot. I know you said that you do too.
It is in the comments all the time. It's anytime that I have a video that's like gone viral of my reptile room or whatever, there's always these like sarcastic comments that come in. They're like, what's that electric bill like? Or how's that power bill looking these days? And I'm like, guys, I don't know. Okay, I don't know how much electricity is just the reptiles versus how much I spend on my whole
No.
house with my own electricity use. Like, I don't know.
No, because I was only living on my own with my own
Yeah.
bills and expenses, I think for 1 year
Yeah.
before I got reptiles. So like as an adult paying my own bills, there's always been reptiles
Always.
in there. So
Same.
like I don't know what the difference
Same.
is without them.
Truly.
To know like, isn't like I went years of this is my electric bill.
Yeah.
Then I got reptiles.
And then
now
all of a
it's
sudden I like saw the increase. Like
Yeah.
I have no idea how to look at my electric bill and be like, oh, this percentage is for the reptiles and this is for me and this is what I use in my bathroom or this is my ring light or like I don't
Yeah.
know. So like
But you
anytime
would
I-
have to be like, but we're not being naive in that like
no.
their enclosure lights are on all
8
day.
hours a day, 10,
So,
12
like,
hours a day.
You know, so like that's using electricity.
100%.
They're misting
Mister,
systems
yeah.
using electricity. Like you're
All their
using heat
timers.
bulbs, UVB bulbs. Like
Yeah.
electricity is like
And it totally-
an expense for sure.
It totally adds up. I just don't know a life without reptiles while paying bills. So I have no idea what that looks like.
Literally no idea.
Yeah.
I will say, however, I was shopping for a new electric company and I tasked my boyfriend to help me like shop around. And he was
It's
like,
a
how
great
much
use of his time.
like what is it, kilowatts or whatever?
Yeah, kilowatts, yeah.
He's like, how much do you use? And he's like, I estimated this amount based off of the square footage of your home. My actual usage was like double. Now, was that because of the reptiles? Maybe, partially. But I think he forgot to have a pool,
Oh, duh.
which uses electricity and runs all the time.
I would not have even factored in
Yes.
the pool.
So I think the reason why mine was so high was
the
because of my pool.
Totally.
But there's probably a chunk in there
I think
that
there's
is
a chunk.
also
I
reptiles.
just also, unless you're a breeder with like hundreds of reptiles, I don't think it's like as drastic of an increase as
No.
people expect it to be. Like, yes, I have, 10 plus enclosures that have, a heat lamp, a UVB bulb, and some of them have plant lights as well. Like, yes, that's like, 30 lights plus a misting system. I'm aware that that's like a lot of things, but I think the actual like kilowatt usage like
That's what I'm
isn't
saying.
as crazy as people think it is. I
So,
just don't.
An expense nonetheless.
Yeah.
But I would say minute in the grand scheme.
But if anybody's like,
If you've done the math.
if you've done the math or if you noticed the difference when you got reptiles, I would be very curious because this is just like unfortunately not something my math challenge brain can figure out with ease.
One thing that just popped in my head, not something we deal with because we use our heaters and AC like
Right.
nobody's business. But like I do know people who won't run their AC during the summer
Yeah.
because of the expense, or a multitude of other factors, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
But like when you have reptiles, you don't have the luxury of not running
Your AC
either a portable AC
your
unit
heat.
or your heater or whatever. So like that may, if you're used
Yeah.
to not running those things,
That's a great point.
then
Yeah.
maybe you would see a spike because you now
Yeah.
have to keep the ambient temperature at a certain
Yes.
level.
You
But-
have to maintain temperature. So you have to have like a temperature controlled
Yeah.
space or home. So
Speaking of which, water. Right? I also do not calculate how much water
I don't either.
I'm spending.
Also, my water bill is also like very usually, I mean, it's very low in comparison to the power. So I'm like, it hasn't been a huge.
Yeah, and I would say, like, as someone who has primarily chameleons, like, they do go through, I think, more water than other species do, just because of how often you're misting, and then across the quantity of enclosures. Again, breeder versus keeper at this point.
And I actually don't use, like, the running water in my house for my reptiles.
Oh, this is a good point, too, of, like, purchasing water.
So I actually purchase all of my water for the reptiles, and this is twofold. This is one, because I have an amphibian, and I prefer to have, like, the safest possible water for them, since they do kind of like breathe through their skin and are, you know, slightly more aquatic, yada, yada. I want to make sure that, like, I'm not using tap water for that reason. You know, to each their own. I use ReptiSafe water conditioner and everything, but I just prefer to get either like spring water or reverse osmosis water and like add things back in.
So are those waters in your monthly totals?
I don't think so, and I'm realizing that right now, but I can tell you what that is off the top of my head. Each month I get at least 2 to 3 2.5 gallon jugs of water that have like the little spigot on it. So I get about 7.5 gallons of water, and I use that in my Mist King, and I use that in my hand mister, and I also use that for all their water bowls, and that includes like the snakes and stuff like that. The snakes, sometimes I'll use a little bit of tap water mixed in, because I have to get the warm water, and I try to like heat it up a little bit and stuff. Anyway, long story short, that is a total of like less than $10 a month. So that is like also like a very low cost for me.
I have a filtration system built into my sink, independent of like everything else. Came with the house.
Yes.
So I use that for all of mine.
If we had bought our house and I could put in a reverse osmosis water, it is all that I want. I want to put that filter in so bad.
It's a pain, because I can only get like 2 pitchers before it like kind
starts
of
dripping.
runs out.
Yeah.
And I have to go all the way down the hallway and all but it is filtered water.
It is good water.
Yeah. So I don't mind. So when I see my Mist King reservoir is like kind of running low, then I'll start, because I know it's going to take me a couple hours to get over time. Right. Yeah. So like my water cost is built into my water bill. And when you want a pool, that's like pennies.
You're like, this is fine.
Yeah. Okay. Food. The big one.
This is definitely, I would say this is the most consistent cost that you'll have, like, across the board.
Yeah.
Right?
Ongoing cost, food. So depends on types of food, and we've had episodes on that. Like, if you've got an omnivore who's doing like fruits and salads and stuff like that, then like you're gonna have to pay for those, which would probably honestly be pricier than like frozen rats or bugs. But my biggest cost is bugs. All my animals are insectivores, with the exception of Pluto, my crested gecko, who also gets the gecko, Pangea food diet. But because I only have one gecko, to your point, the little Pangea, even they have like little tiny packets, but then they have like the bigger bags, and then they got the like jumbo breeder bags. So I get the like medium size one.
Yeah, me too.
Those will last me so long. So long. And I remember Matt, the owner of Pangea, he said to refrigerate them.
Yes,
to like
they last even longer if you refrigerate them. Because
like,
they do have an expiration date, guys. That's PSA. They do expire after, I think, like, I don't know. If you don't put them in the refrigerator, they expire sooner.
Yes. And so like when we met, had quite a few New Caledonian geckos. So you'd be like ripping through gecko food like nobody's business. I had one gecko, and I'm like, la, 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 you know?
Yeah.
And I do try to get multiple flavors. Realistically, I could probably get one bag, and I would easily feed him for a year.
Now that I only have 2, I have my Gargoyle Gecko Poke and my New Caledonian, or my, thank you. I said New Caledonian. They're both New Caledonian. And my Chihuahua Gecko Scooby. Now that I just have the 2 of them, I really just need to get the small bags. I get 2 flavors of the small bags, and I just rotate between those. Yeah. And it still lasts me a very long time.
Yeah. So Pluto's like...
Yeah.
pennies a month.
Yeah.
Like,
pennies.
Because his food lasts so long.
Totally.
But the real thing is the bugs.
Yes.
Right? And also each each bug costs differently. If you're going for like bang for your buck, dubias and crickets are going to be the most cost effective, like quantity per dollar.
The most like solid, like staple feeder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One could argue dubias would be superior to crickets if you're looking from like a money standpoint, because they last live longer.
So much longer than
you're
crickets.
Not going to get the die off you are with crickets.
Totally.
So you're saving more money that way. But things like hornworms, pricey, right?
Pricey. Silkworms, pricey.
Black soldier fly larvae, superworms, in the middle.
In the middle. Yeah. I would say they're pretty average.
Waxworms also nothing crazy.
Nothing crazy.
But their shelf life isn't nearly as long as something like a dubia roach.
Yeah.
I would say at the time when I just had my adult chameleons, not my babies, I would say I was spending $50 every other month.
Yeah.
I would say I would order every other month and spend about $50.
I would say
$25 a month on bugs.
I would say mine is probably consistently in between like $60 to $75 a month with that. And then all my extra expenses are like additional like stuff on top of that.
Yeah. And that would be for like 3 to 4 chameleons, depending on like what time of my life I'm like looking at.
And mine, like I said, I would say it's probably pretty consistently 75 to 80 a month. And that is because I give my 2 New Caledonian geckos, I give them bugs once a week. They get bugs. They get their weekend bugs. That's what they get. And then it's like their big weekend party. And so they get their weekend bugs. And then I have tiger salamander, leopard gecko, African fat tail gecko. And then any extra bugs that I have, I throw them to my legless lizard. I throw them to my blue tongue skink. They'll eat anything. And, and then that gives variety and all that stuff. So, 5 to 6 insectivores and some extras. And it always helps to have extra bugs. So I always kind of err on the side of like having too many. I always have a lot of bugs. I kind of overdo it sometimes.
Yeah.
So if I was really trying to ball on a budget, I would probably shrink back a little bit. But I just always try to have extra because my worst fear is having a feeding night and not having enough.
We've also done an episode on babies versus adults.
Yes.
Babies will eat you at a house at home.
Yes, they
especially
will.
insectivores compared to adults. Because most insectivores as babies are eating daily.
Yes.
And then they'll move into like every couple of days. Again, depending on species and quantity, size of bugs. There's a lot of factors. But once you have adults, not only is the time and maintenance drastically less, but also the expenses are less. Now you may be buying bigger bugs, which may be more expensive, but they're not eating
as many. Yeah, or as often.
Yeah.
So my consistent costs. I kind of had averaged mine up, and we'll go through all these at the end. But I had averaged mine up from January all the way through October, and it was I only had 1 month out of there where my cost was like under $100, but. Again, that was just a bunch of like additional things. We'll talk about those. You guys have been following us long enough to know how much we love the BioDude. The BioDude makes it easy to bring high-level husbandry home with bioactive kits for bearded dragons, ball pythons, dart frogs, tarantulas, and of course, chameleons. They're a one-stop shop for all things bioactive terrarium, from the leaf litter to natural decor to isopods and more.
My personal favorite are the plants, of course, and I don't forget to get my UVBs while I'm there.
And I've been using the Terra Firma substrate for years for so many of my different reptile species.
Lastly, the BioDude has a huge free resource library with care sheets and bioactive terrarium guides at thebiodude.com.
Okay, Neptune, what are your top 2 feeder bugs for all your critters?
Dubias for protein and black soldier fly larvae for lots of calcium.
Simpton offers a wide variety of insects like silkworms, dubia roaches, waxworms, and our favorites, black soldier fly larvae.
I've also heard the entomologists at Simpton have customized the diet of their black soldier fly larvae to maximize their calcium content, so there's no need to dust them with calcium.
So if you're interested in trying them out, use code THEWILDTYPE at simptonbsf.com for 15% off your order. Are you looking for a new enclosure for one of your reptile babies? Be sure to check out Cages with a K. Each enclosure is made to order by their team in Minnesota, which means they can even do custom builds.
The enclosures are made from high-quality PVC with tempered glass doors, allowing for superior heat and humidity retention. They offer screen tops, side vents, and belly heat customization options to ensure the ideal setup for any environment.
So whatever dream home you want built, Cages has you covered. Use code WILDTYPE50 to get $50 off any order over $300 at reptilecages.com.
So that's like insects, but what about with your like frozen feeders?
So frozen feeders, I only buy those like once or twice a year. I really don't buy those often because I kind of buy in bulk. I buy a lot from my local reptile shop. And so either that or I stock up at expos. So I don't really have like one consistent like vendor but I am trying, once I run out of the batch that I have right now, I'm trying to switch over to a few, like I'm using a lot more Reptilinks these days with my snakes, which has been kind of fun. And so they've slowly been getting used to those, and I would like to keep them on those because those are a really good variety of whole prey, which is really cool. So I do those. Those are a little bit more on the pricey side, and you have to kind of buy them in bulk. Honestly, I don't know the exact cost of those because I kind of had them all lumped together in my reptile shop purchases and expo purchases and whatnot. So, but I would say, I mean, I probably spend in between $100 and $200 every 6 months or so on the snake food, right? And then I'll buy one-off things here and there, like I'll buy a bunch of the Cano snails for Voldy and Nilla,
or quail eggs,
stuff like that. So it's really all over the place. I also like I said, I've been leaning on the Reptilinks a lot for my omnivores and my carnivores, but I also occasionally will like give Nilla or Voldy like some ground chicken, ground turkey, things like that. So it's really all across the board. Plus, with the omnivores, they also, get collard greens from my local Sprouts and stuff like that. So it's really...
It really depends, but food is probably going to be your highest ongoing...
Yeah, I would say
ongoing cost.
All in all, on a monthly basis, I probably spend on food alone anywhere between $75 to $100 just on the food. That seems to be my like very consistent. Like insects are probably what I spend the most on, and then the frozen feeders are probably right in line with the insects. That's just, I buy those in bulk, so I don't know the monthly costs on those. But.
Yeah, and just to give a little bit of transparency for like the like crickets and bugs and stuff like that, it was like $25 for 1,000 crickets, and that's like getting like a deal on them, right? Like that's like
if you buy in bulk, you usually get discounts.
Yes.
So
and then I'm currently purchasing about 10,000 crickets every other week.
That's so crazy.
So it's $250.
Yeah.
Every other week, so about $500 a month.
Yeah.
Just in crickets.
Yeah.
For the babies, and that's just if I do crickets.
Yep.
Now, if I want to add in other bugs, and this is why I make my own fruit fly cultures.
Very important.
Because a fruit fly culture, if you purchase one that's already producing, could be anywhere from like $15 to $25.
Yeah.
For one culture.
That's crazy.
I'm currently making 4 to 6 cultures a week. So then that would be a few $100s.
Yeah.
Just in now, if I'm making my own fruit fly cultures, I'm still buying the supplies.
Of course.
Plus my time, right? So I can buy...
Which is why we don't have the exact dollar amounts, guys. There's so many factors.
I can buy like 50 deli cups in like 3 containers, like on sale or at an expo, whatever. But that's still like $50 right there, right? Then I'm like going through paper towels for all the babies, right?
So many paper
towels. Because I have to replace those every time. This is just the ongoing cost. This is not the cost to like... set them.
Yeah, the setup cost was a whole other beast.
Set them up, right? Whew. So like the expenses do add up. But if I'm doing just like from a pet keeper, I was spending like $25 to $50 a month on bugs.
Yeah,
which is like nothing.
Yeah, when you're truly cost remain
versus
lower.
Like
if you remain just
$500 to $800 a month.
Yeah, people all the time are like, oh, like do you breed your reptile? I'm like, no.
Well, and then people get all like type of way when you're charging those animals, but like clutch 1 is 6 months old, clutch 2 is 4 months old, like this is 6 months
that I've been feeding them, caring for them, providing all of their needs, cleaning up after them.
Yes, everything. And that's just like expenses, not even my time. I do plan to do a video when all is said and done of like, I did a video already on like how much it costs for me to set up
that's great,
everything, like the infrastructure, and then I want to do a cost of like this, how much I spent taking
care of them, which should justify the cost of the animals. I mean, come on.
Right.
Like there's a lot there, not to mention all your freaking time. You've been getting up so early taking care of them all the time. Like you've been doing.
Yeah, that's just like the expenses, not your time and everything else. So I think that's like a good synopsis on food. Another thing I had were like plants. Because that can be a big expense.
All of the months, it's funny because all of the months that I like looked at the cost, I can literally tell, that was a bulb, that was a bulb month, and that was a plant month, and that was and so I could tell which months were which based on certain things.
So I just recently redid all of my adult enclosures with live plants post mealybug apocalypse of 2024.
Yes.
So it I just had to like do all the costs. Now these are 2x4 vertical enclosures with like 12 to 15 plants per enclosure,
which is a lot.
Yeah, and these are like bigger plants too, because like
small plants.
I'm taking up the whole space. I'm filling with plants. I'm looking at like $200 to $300 per enclosure. Just in plants, which is why it broke my heart when I had to rip out all those plants. Because not only did I have some of those plants for like 7+ years, like a very long time, and I do get emotionally attached.
If you don't get emotionally attached to plants, what's wrong with you? Of course you get emotionally attached to the plants.
Some of those I got as little sprouts, and then they bloomed, and they were thriving, and I just warmed my heart. So I was gutted, not only in like the emotional piece of it, but financially, I knew I was throwing away hundreds of dollars of plants.
100%. I was devastated when Barney's pothos is the first plant in the reptile room that got the mealybugs. I still don't know how they got the mealybugs because there was no other plant at the time. There was only one that had them. And it started in Barney's pothos plant that I had for 3 years.
Right.
I had that pothos.
Like
it was a gorgeous. If you look at any of my old videos of Barney's old enclosure, that pothos was stunning. And it moved from 2 homes, and it was beautiful. And I am still upset that it got demolished.
Luna had a plant like that. The one, if you remember, the one that was really tall.
I know exactly which one you're talking about. It was gorgeous.
I had that one for like 5 years.
Oh, it's so heartbreaking.
And I also moved it multiple times.
It's so heartbreaking. You're like, this plant was with me through this home and that boyfriend and this friendship and this thing and this.
All the life events.
If you don't get emotionally attached to plants, I can't be friends with you.
That's what I'm saying. So I was gutted because
It's so upsetting.
And what was terrible about that big one is it had these beautiful stalks and these huge squiggly little leaves.
Thick.
In order to get it out of there, I had to like snap the leaves off.
You had to behead them?
Because if I had just pulled it out, all the mealybugs, because they were underneath.
I understand the reasoning, but you had to behead that child.
Yes. I had to snap them and shove them in garbage bags to try and consolidate the mealybugs from like...
I'm getting teary-eyed. That is heartbreaking. I have not had to experience that. Oh.
And you hear the...
Heartbreaking. Oh my gosh.
Anyways, so if you're looking at the cost, approximately to fill out
plants, so
a 2x4 enclosure, I spend about $200 to $300 per enclosure, and that's not bioactive. That's not purchasing soil. No. That's exclusively just naturalistic live plants.
All of my months that I bought plants, it put me over at least $80 to $100 more than like the usual monthly cost.
Now this was a full overhaul. Like I went from fig plants to live plants.
Yeah.
In a normal state, I purchase plants about twice a year.
Yeah.
I do spring and fall. I'll do like a plant refresh, and I may be buying like
a handful,
5 to 10 plants across all of my enclosures.
It's just like replacing any that weren't thriving, or kind of like swapping, so maybe or adding, or
$100 to $200 twice a year on like a good
refresh,
plant refresh.
That's around what my costs are, except mine have still been dying, and there's just a lot of work I gotta get done on some of those in order to get them thriving again.
But that's a cost, is like it totally plants and everything else. And that's ongoing.
Would also like to throw in, because there was one month that I had a rock month, and that was pricey, friends. And I still haven't even put those rocks in Nilla's enclosure. I'm actually probably doing that this weekend, but I have a couple of really good flat, like sandstone rocks, and I bought like I think 4 or 5 of these rocks, and one of them is huge because I'm going to use it as like a bridge over 2 of them, so I've got like a whole plan for like how it's going to be like stacked up in there and how it's going to go. But basically I bought like 5 or 6 like sandstone rocks that were very big, and that bumped me up to $200+ that month. Yeah. So that was definitely a category that's expensive.
You brought up bulbs.
Yes.
An ongoing cost. So you'll have your heat bulbs, your UVB bulbs, your plant bulbs.
Yes.
Heat bulbs, in my opinion, I'm not even factoring that cost.
No, they're like so minuscule.
$5, $10.
Yeah, and if you're using halogens, they last so long.
Yeah.
I rarely.
So if you average that out, like $2 a month or something?
Yeah, less.
Nothing.
Probably. Yeah.
Plant LEDs. So I have a few different brands. I do too. I have a Biodude one. I have the Jungle Dawn, my personal favorite. Vivarium Electronics. I've had my jungle dawn for 6 years now.
I really need to get one of those. That's my goal.
Have not replaced it. I have not had to replace any of my plant LEDs, and I'm so mindful. Like, you can easily drop $100 to $200 on a nice plant LED, depending on the length you're going for. Mine are all for the 2-foot size. Yeah. But like, those suckers have lasted me for years. I've never had to replace one of my plant LEDs.
I'm currently planning on a few different things I'm working on, and one of the things that I want to upgrade when I like refresh a couple of these enclosures is the plant lights, because I specifically, the ones I've been using just haven't been
your plants are struggling, so you might as well give them a little juice.
I just need to upgrade the lighting on all of that. So that's something I'm planning on doing, and I'm gonna do many. I'm basically gonna like save up my monies and get a bunch of jungle dawns, because they're worth
literally every penny. That's not sponsored.
They're so good. They're such good lights, and I don't have any of them yet. So
yeah, I love mine. Yeah. My advanced chameleon kit now comes with an Arcadia jungle dawn.
That's fabulous.
Go snag one.
Yeah.
PangeaReptile.com. So UVB though, that's the kicker. That's the cost. Yep. So fun fact, if you didn't know, UVB bulbs need to be replaced about every 12 months unless you own a solar meter, in which case you can measure to know exactly when they need to be replaced. What is an average UVB? I always get like the 2-foot or the 3-foot ones.
Mine are usually 2 or 3, and then I have a couple of them that are just the 12-inch ones.
Yeah, because it's like $40, give or take on the size.
Yeah.
Like, we're in December now, but like, if you did not take advantage of the Black Friday sales, that's the time.
That's a good
because you can just stock up on them.
Yep, get as many as you can for a good price.
Good price. So if they ever go on sale, like, take advantage.
Yes.
But depending on how many enclosures you have, you're looking.
That's actually a really good reminder for me, because having looked at this, I realized that I did all of my UVB bulbs last January. And that was my like bulb month, was beginning of the year, new bulbs. So I'm coming up on that, and Black Friday in our world, which is
hasn't happened yet.
So I'm gonna be doing that.
Yeah. So UVB bulbs, that's an ongoing cost. The last thing I had were vets.
Yeah, and that's more of, in my book at least, that's more of like a savings kind of thing, right? Like, I try to save up for that and have.
I just had a vet bill.
Ooh, okay.
So that was like popped into my head because I was like looking at my
it's very real. It's so
recent expenses.
It has been very rare for any reptile vet visit that I've ever had. I think the cheapest one off the top of my head that I ever had was like $180, and I would say those costs are consistently $150 all the way up to $500, depending on what you're getting and what you need and what's going on.
Yeah, the one I just had, and this can be like a segue into our next topic eventually, was euthanizing one of the baby chameleons. Yeah. I did post about it. I'm like totally fine talking about it, but it was $94 to go to the vet, euthanize what was a couple-month-old baby chameleon that just like was not thriving. And we can maybe like put a pin in that, and we can like talk about
that conversation,
evolve that. But that is a cost, right? And again, when I'm as from a breeder perspective, I need to be mindful of my expenses and recognize that like vet trips could be part of it.
Absolutely a cost.
Happy December, reptile girlies. While you're doing your holiday shopping, don't forget to check out Pangea and get a little something for yourself and the reptile keepers in your lives.
Our friends over at Pangea are offering free standard shipping on any dry good orders placed between December 1st and December 31st using code WILD-HOLIDAYS. Limited to U.S. customers only and one use per customer.
So go ahead and get yourself and your critters something nice this holiday season at PangeaReptile.com.
And now you've heard us talk all about Scratches, the social app that helps exotic pet owners like us find their people.
You can add photos of you and all your scaly babies, set your filter to reptiles, and start scrolling through your local pet parents who get it. Think of Scratches as your way of avoiding the ever-looming "so do you have any pets?" question. Whether you're looking for friendship, romance, or someone who can pet sit your critters, your community is just a new match away.
Download Scratches today and start connecting with reptile keepers in your area. Available on iOS and Android.
We're so excited to introduce the Reptile Girlies to our favorite reptile-friendly coffee and tea brand, Cold Blooded Caffeine. Our favorite thing about them is that they donate 5% of all their proceeds to wildlife conservation to ensure reptiles and amphibians have a place to call home in the wild, as well as in our homes.
And if you know me, you know I'm obsessed with herbal teas. So for any of our fellow tea lovers, they source some of the highest quality loose leaf teas in the world.
Cold-Blooded Caffeine offers a wide variety of coffee like their Rainforest Blend, single origin options, and collaborations with some of the biggest names in the reptile world.
For 25% off your first order, use code WILDTYPE at coldbloodedcaffeine.com.
Actually, breeding Neptune and Venus was thousands of dollars due to a vet visit and surgeries that were required. And if you're like, what? Go watch that episode. Or I've done YouTube videos on my channel.
Yes, I was like, she has the whole story on her channel.
Yeah, good with pictures.
It's a saga. You're in for an adventure if you have not caught up on that yet.
But like, it's not an if, it's a when.
Yeah, 100%.
And hopefully not, like truly hopefully not. But we have to be mindful. And to your point, this is not a $50 visit. This is hundreds of dollars, because if there's something wrong, they're going to want to do x-rays, blood work, give you medication, like plus the just exam visit alone.
The exam visit alone. I have never been to an exotic reptile vet whose exam costs alone was less than, I think the average cost is in between $70 to $90 just for the exam.
$80 was what I had in my head.
I was going to say 80 to 85 is the most common that I have seen across the board.
And that's to just have an appointment.
That's literally just to have an appointment. That's to have them look and assess the animal. That is it.
And then I'm saying they're going to want to do some sort of diagnostic something.
Fecal tests, blood tests, anything along those lines that you might need, that they might need. Like that is going to just, so the base cost is $80, and then you only go up from there. So like if you need
fecal, like $60,
any medication, any eye drops, any fecal tests, any blood tests, it all adds up. So it is on average a minimum of $150 for almost every vet visit I've ever had.
And that's like for like nothing to be wrong with them, or like something very minor,
or something very, very minor.
Yeah. So it is a consideration, and I did just recently have that cost, so like that was top of mind for me. But maybe we can do a quick rundown of like the totals that you have.
So like I said, I went back and looked at my account from January of 2025 all the way through October. So January was a light month, and I spent, and I don't mean light as in less money, I mean light as in
purchased light bulbs.
Yes. And that was $227. And then February was a light month in the sense that it was a little less money, and that was $102. March was $206, and that is notably an expo month. So I definitely brought home some wood, some plants, some different things. So that was a little bit on the higher side. April, I spent about $92, and that is my cheapest month, probably because I bought stuff at the expos.
Right, you were covered.
So I was covered for a lot of things for the month of April. So that's why I think like my base costs are about $75 to $80, maybe with like something else added in here and there. May was $134. June was $233, and in June I did buy a couple of extra lights, and I remember that because I had a couple that I like didn't replace fully in January, whatever. And then I also, that was my rock month as well, and that was $233. So again, one of the more expensive months. I think that actually is the most expensive month. Then July was $106, which was a good month. August was $219, and that was a month that I bought a bunch of plants. I've since let some of those plants die. So it was a little bit of a waste, but it's okay. We're moving on. September was also an expo month, and I spent about $183. And then October was at $153.
There you go.
So, and some of those things are just like, I needed some like ReptiSafe, plus like maybe I just went a little crazy and got some extra bugs, or I got some silkworms that month, or like whatever the case may be. So that tends to be at least $100 a month seems to be my average.
Yeah, I would say mine's a bit lower than that as a pet keeper. Yeah. I would say I'm like $50 to $80 on average a month. This is why when people, because again, it's not about the ongoing cost. It is the initial cost to set them up correctly into the standards that you have for yourself, right? Like if I told you how much I spent setting up my enclosures, which maybe we can do that math one day.
That's a scary cost.
Right? That is like way more.
Hundreds and hundreds, yeah.
Way more.
Not.
But I do think it's interesting to have like the perspective of a breeder, and that like I only only have 2 clutches of Chameleon, so I have like 30 babies, and I'm looking at like $800 to $1,000 a month.
Yeah, that's a lot.
just on the expenses. Now, think of the chameleon breeders and really any breeder. I don't really know what the ongoing cost for like other like snake breeders or gecko breeders are, but like because they're not having to buy bugs the same way or feed as often as insectivores do. But like think of the chameleon breeders who have like hundreds of babies who are buying hundreds of thousands of crickets per week.
That's so
like their
wild.
cricket order is 100,000 crickets.
Like y'all have to remember that like you might think of us as people who have a lot of reptiles. In the grand scheme of like the reptile community,
no,
we got rookie numbers, okay?
No, me over here, I'm only buying 10,000 crickets.
That's nothing. So like truly it is like it really just varies and depends on like a lot of different things. And so there's so many different costs, there's so many different variables, there's so many different, you could be a breeder, you could be a pet keeper, you could be a hobbyist breeder, you could be like there's so many different intros into the hobby in different ways. So
but I'm curious because there's also different types of people when it comes to expenses and budgeting. Me, I'm like, I know ballparky what I spend on my reptiles, but there are some of you who do know to the cent exactly how much.
I love you people because I could never be you. And
but
I have immense amounts of respect for you people.
If you want to contribute, you can let us know what species you have and how much you spend a month.
Yes, I would genuinely love to know because I know that my numbers are not including certain things. I know that like I just would like to know somebody else's. And those of you in the comments who are telling us these things also let us know how many reptiles do you have? Are you pet only? Are you a breeder? I would like to know all of the criteria.
Specifics. And we need to know species because obviously lizards differ from snakes. We haven't even talked about turtles or frogs. Yes. Neither of us keep those. But like their expenses or like none of us have to make salads every day.
Right.
Either
I know you beardy people are shelling out dollars.
I know their grocery bill's more than your grocery bill.
I know it is. And I want to know what that cost look like because we're nosy and I'm curious and I want to know how my costs compare to everybody else's.
There you go.
I'm sure I could be saving money somewhere too as well.
Oh, yeah. Quick shout out to the episode we did way back.
Long time ago.
Way back when on tips and tricks for balling on a budget and saving money when it comes to reptile keeping because there are certainly ways to do it.
Absolutely.
So check out that episode if you haven't.
100%. Okay. Is it time to segue? And I don't have a smooth segue.
Rip off a Band-Aid.
So we are going to be reacting to basically what we found is a TikTok where it's essentially men on Reddit talking about.
You should just read what the prompt is.
Okay. Yeah. There we go.
Make sure your volume's down.
Yes. The reason why. Nope. There it is. Okay. Hold on. I obviously should have had this pulled up better beforehand.
Psst, please.
Okay. So it was a Reddit thread that said, "Men, what did you find out about women after you got a girlfriend?" And there are some fabulous responses here.
I only read the first few. The other ones I didn't bother reading. So
I just read a few, like the first handful too.
Okay.
So the very first one is that 99% of the time when they come to us to vent or go off about something, that is literally all they want to do in that moment. They are not looking for Mr. Fix-It, just someone to sit in the mud with them. And I love sitting in the mud with them. I think that like phrase that they added at the end, I'm like, that is exactly what I want.
Yes.
I want somebody to play in my sandbox and my sandbox is venting.
I want to have a pity party.
Yes.
And I want you to throw the confetti.
Yes.
And be like, poor you.
And I want you to be like, wow, that really sucks. That is terrible. Who could imagine such horrors? Like that is the energy that I'm looking for.
Yes.
And Mr. Fix-It, goodbye. Get out of here. We are not looking for solutions. We are not looking. I know
the solution. I already have a plan. I know. I just want to wallow for a second.
It's in the back of my head. I just want to complain. And that's really all it is. And I would like somebody to commiserate with me and tell me how valid I am for feeling annoyed or upset or mad or sad or whatever the case may be. I simply just want somebody to be like, yeah, you're right. That's it. That's all we're looking for.
Next.
Okay. So much hair everywhere. When we weren't living together yet, I found a hair in my fresh boxers 3 days later. Now that we do live together, I need to clean the vacuum's head on every 3 hours use as it's all hair and it doesn't suck well. I'm surprised she is not bald at this point.
Hair everywhere.
Hair everywhere.
Yep.
Genuinely everywhere. Okay, this one is also coincides. Hair ties also everywhere.
Yep.
Yes.
And bobby pins.
Bobby pins.
Hair clips.
Clips everywhere. Logan actually laid in our bed and laid on a clip the other day. So, yeah.
Which is worse, stepping on a Lego or laying on a hair clip?
I think still Lego. I think Lego still wins, to be honest. But he did give a very solid, what was that?
Fair.
Okay, the next one, the amount of toilet paper used. Having to go from changing the roll every couple weeks to every few days, which I think that's accurate. Men don't use toilet paper as often, and I would argue that they should.
Here's my 2 cents, and this may be TMI, but you can fill the blanks, okay? Females tend to use toilet paper more so than males.
Yes.
So my 2 cents is that ladies should get to pick the brand
Oh, yeah.
and the direction of the toilet paper rolls.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt.
Because who's using it more often?
100%.
Us.
Absolutely.
So I don't care what brand you like.
Nope.
I know what I like, and I have to use it the most.
And let me just say, if anybody dare brings 1-ply toilet paper into my household, they will not get a good response.
I'm a Charmin Ultra Soft girly.
Shut up! We're the same!
Through and through. Team Charmin, baby.
Me too.
Ultra Soft specifically.
Specifically because Logan has come home with the Ultra Strong, and it's not the same.
That's what I'm saying.
It's not the same.
We do not budge on this.
No. And you know what's hilarious? Where I started my Charmin obsession was when I lived with my grandparents for a year out of school to save money. My job was closer to my grandparents' house than it was to my parents by an hour. And so I lived with them for a while, and my grandma used Charmin and my mom used Cottonelle. And when I would go home to my parents, I was like, ugh. And ever
Shout out
since,
to my mom because she's Charmin Ultra Soft, and I have not known
never wavered.
any different, except for when I go to someone else's house, and I'm like,
ew, what is that?
what is this?
No, I will never forget coming home from my grandparents' house one time, and I was like, Mom, what brand of toilet paper do you use? And she was like, no, why? And I was like, ew. I was like, I don't know what Grammy's using, but it's better. And she was like, okay. She didn't understand why I was so worked up, but I've been a Charmin girly since that moment.
There you go.
Anywho, next. Okay. This is probably one of my favorites. That I'm fine is actually the scariest phrase in the English language.
True.
And it should be. Anyway, they get harassed a lot. Sure, I knew vaguely that this was probably true, but now that I hear about her experiencing these things on a regular basis, it's way more concrete. Yeah.
We've talked about this, and we're not trying to get all weird on the pod and anything like that.
No.
But if you're a lady on planet Earth, you understand.
You get it.
And men live a life in
La La Land.
Yeah.
They're just blissfully unaware of how often.
Exhibit A. I was driving in a more countryside area with my boyfriend to a wedding, and he just casually comments, I love driving in these types of areas, the countryside, whatever. And he's like, what I like to do sometime? Just take a random exit and see where it takes me. You know what I do? Pre-plan all my bathroom breaks to know exactly that I'm in a populated area at a gas station name that I know. And I'm certainly not taking random exits and just seeing where they take me because I don't want to know where they take me because I'd like to get back on the highway in one piece. You know where he was? La La Land. Just living a life where he just doesn't have to think about these things. But I do appreciate partners who are willing to listen.
100%.
Partners that are willing to pick you up from Target because you got uncomfortable.
So just a prime example, I was taking care of my uncle's cats this past weekend as well. So coming off of caring for your critters, I then had to go take care of 2 adorable kittens. Not kittens, they're older. But anyway, 2 adorable cats who I adore. They're very, very sweet. But I was going over there in the evenings specifically, and it was, it's getting dark at 5:30 p.m. now, which is the worst. And Logan refused to let me go by myself. And I was like, okay, sir, I'm an independent lady, but also it'd be really nice if you came with me. Thank you so much.
Right.
But
it's just they don't know.
They don't get it until truly.
They don't know.
And I do think what this commenter is saying is basically that they didn't realize it until they had a partner. And unfortunately, I think that's how a lot of men learn, which is unfortunate. But it is a good thing that they're learning and that they're figuring that out.
Exactly.
So, anywho, You should probably have a second towel to keep your bathroom spotless. They don't care much if your living room area is perfect, but that room in particular is a comfort zone. Talking about the bathroom. This isn't me.
Okay, imagine your bathroom covered with facial hair.
Oh, yeah.
Toothpaste markings. Like, that's how a lot of men...
I guess I have to remember that, like, I live with a man who is, like, slightly cleaner than I am.
Yes. So you can walk into your... Also, you and Logan are, like, almost identical messy levels. So it's, like, very compatible.
It's very perfect. Neither of us gets too mad at the other person because we're like, we get it. It's fine.
But you don't have to walk into your bathroom and then there'd be, like, facial hair everywhere.
Yes.
Right? Like, you want a level of cleanliness so that when you come in there, then you can, like... feel prepared.
And I totally agree with that. However, juxtaposing that very quickly is one that says, I found out that they are not as organized / tidy as I expected. For example, my bathroom was comprised of shampoo, body soap, towel, and 3 toiletries, and everything in its place. As soon as she moved in, it was like a tornado just swooped through everywhere. Oh, and clothes everywhere. Bras hanging on the bedroom doorknobs. We got married. And that I resonate more to than the perfectly clean bathroom.
Yeah.
But I also think that there's a differentiation between clean and like organized, right?
Yes.
Those are 2 different things.
Yes.
2 very different things.
I am reaching the point in my relationship because when you first start dating, you like try and clean everything and have everything both clean and organized.
Of course.
I'm at the point now where things will be clean,
but not organized.
But not necessarily organized.
Yes.
100%. The 6
That's,
shirts I tried on that morning that I forgot to put away before he came over.
That is incredibly
may
real.
Still be on the bed.
Yeah, and that's okay. All right, that is fine because we got a lot going on over here. Okay, so then the next one is that they actually appreciate small efforts more than big gestures, which is very, very accurate, I think.
Yeah, that's the thoughtful ones.
It's the thoughtful things. Like, for example, getting ready for our party. We had a couple friend of ours staying in our guest room from out of town for the Halloween party. And I did not have to clean up this podcast room at all. Logan handled all of it for me because it's like, the guy in the relationship is like his close friend. And so he just took care of it. I didn't even have to ask. He just handled it all. And like that, to me, it's such a small thing, just tidying up a room, whatever, huge. Like that took so much pressure off of me. So it's just like those little things.
I'll say one small one because this just happened yesterday. He picked me up from the airport, and which is a gesture in of itself.
Yes.
But when I came out, he was like standing outside the car and like the trunk was open and he just like put my bag in there. Like,
that's cute.
And like not to say like I would have felt the type of way if he was like in the car and then got out and like whatever, but
it's just a sweet
it's thoughtful.
Moment. It's very thoughtful.
Not a big gesture,
very
but thoughtful.
Sweet moment. Also, like as a lady, like getting off of like a travel day where you're having to like lug your suitcase around, being able to be like, here, take it, is like a very nice thing. Being like, please lift it into the trunk. I can't carry it anymore.
Yep.
Like that's a moment. Okay. This one is a very good tip for any of our guys who might still be listening, but keep a calendar to record the special dates that you've come through together. That will save and help you in your relationship a ton.
Yeah, and acknowledge them, right? It goes back to like those anniversaries. An anniversary can be whatever you want to be, whatever dates and milestones you want to celebrate.
Absolutely. Then we have, turns out girls are just as nervous around us as we are around them. Everybody is just winging it. And I feel like that is incredibly accurate.
Yeah.
We're all just figuring it out. They're all wildly different. Just be prepared to go with whatever and communicate effectively. And I think that is so true. Girlhood is a spectrum. There's many variations.
Yes. Communication, though. Like,
yes.
Absolutely.
And then this one was, which I love, they do truly wear makeup to impress themselves and other women. It has very little to do with looking good for dudes. I always thought that women did makeup to attract guys, but my girlfriend said it was because she wanted to feel pretty, and I actually believe that.
Yeah, I would say that's true.
Yeah. Frankly, I don't care what, I'm very married. I don't really care what men think of me at all. And I still wear makeup because it makes me feel good.
Yes, I will say I've witnessed a lot of my close girlfriends. I've seen like it's a TikTok trend as well, where like women would have a lot of makeup and then kind of morph to more of like a natural, like they're still wearing makeup and whatever, like, but you can see their confidence in their own selves. And I feel like if you have a good partner who like makes you feel safe, because like sometimes you can use makeup to like feel beautiful and feel good about yourself, but also you can use it kind of as a way to like hide.
Oh, totally.
And kind of like show up as something
Yeah.
maybe that makes you feel better than like having to look
Absolutely.
inward, right? If you want to get real into it.
Yeah.
So I think that can be really special too, to have a partner who makes you want to put on makeup for yourself out of enjoyment, not because you feel like you have to.
Because you feel so secure with them.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%. So this one really made me giggle because I have spooked Logan on many occasions. They move through the house like ninjas, man. You never hear them until they're standing in the doorway and say, "What you doing, babe?" and send you 3 feet into the air. This is accurate. The amount of times I have snuck up on Logan in his office in the middle of gaming because he's got his headphones on and I'm like, "Hey," and he's like, "Ma." It's almost a weekly occurrence. So this one is solid. We notice everything and remember everything.
Yeah.
You really can't get much by a woman.
No.
You really can't. Good luck. I don't know why they're still trying. Then this one is pretty classic, but they want to be listened to, understood, and heard fully, and they know when you're not listening.
Yeah. Got to repeat myself 3 times. Yeah.
This one is the last one, and it's very funny, but they be farting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are human.
We are human. There was also one about poop on there that I'm not going to bring up.
Yes. Releasing gas is
It is a real thing.
we do burp as well.
Yes, I actually, that's more my vice. It's a little bit more of the burping because I've got an esophagus issue going on over here that, there's a lot of burping in our household. So
Yeah. How are we on time?
I
Okay.
think we're doing good.
Yeah, I have to skedaddle
Yes.
like 5 minutes.
We have to run.
But we will be talking about shipping the first baby chameleon.
Yes.
So we'll cover that.
And I have not heard this fully yet either. So
Yeah.
I'm very excited.
Yeah, so I'll talk through that, but I do want to be respectful. I have to meet with my mom. Hi, Mom.
She's got to go.
Yeah, so she has my dog for me.
Yes. Very important.
So you want to take us home?
Yes. All right. You guys can find us everywhere. Thank you so much for listening. You can find us everywhere at the Wild Type Podcast. You can find me everywhere at Lyssa's Lizards.
You can check me out, Neptune and Chameleon.
And anytime you want early access, you can check that out in our subscriptions below.
Or cute merch.
Cute merch. I do have cute merch on today. But other than that, we will catch you girlies in the next episode. Bye y'all.